First of all, many spoilers. Secondly, that's not really a tier list how good written the characters are, more like a tier list how much I like them personally. I am currently on a second playthrough with some friends watching, and it gave me some good information from the early game I completely forgot about. But when I make mistakes about some later chapters, you can correct me anytime in the comments. And again, spoilers, don't watch this if you don't know the series.
苗木誠だ
He's a hopeful boy, that's pretty much his character. Yes, he is very lucky indeed, although Komaeda embraced it more because Makoto didn't really know how his luck really worked and thought the ultimate lucky student was just a catchy name. He's seen as kinda smart, I have to agree with that, because in real time he thinks very fast and finds good contradictions. But when he's talking to someone, it often seems like he's incapable of processing anything said and just repeats everything or asks a question no matter how obvious the answer is. When someone talks to him, he often seems completely oblivious or doesn't really look for the most important clues if he's not personally asked to do it from Kirigiri or Ogami. I mean, he is pretty friendly, but very much a pushover outside of the trials. I mean, inside of the trials, he's actually one of 3 characters who actually provide something useful. He doesn't do anything wrong in particular and has not really an unsympathetic trait. And I like the idea that in a game full of main characters, there's just one not so important side character and he's just the protagonist. It is a little bit difficult to rank him because he is pretty much the player himself, but I would put him in A tier. I have to say the other protagonists have deeper character and some traits to make them more human. The only thing Makoto is really concerned about is how basic and insignificant he is, and that doesn't really matter after the first trial. But I think he is pretty iconic as a character. Every appearance he makes after the first game, he gives off this legend vibes. But I will only rank him like he is in this game, and yeah, A tier. Leon Kawada, and yeah, I have to say I don't really care for Leon. It's very interesting that someone really does not want anything to do with his own talent. He attends the school only to make a career elsewhere in the music industry. For me, this is a pretty cool contrast to Sayaka, who really wants to pursue her talent as much as possible. But apart from that, there isn't much left, perhaps his style or clothing or his hair. But I don't really care about that stuff. Let's go to the spoiler part. Here's one of the dumbest kills I have ever seen. The only one that can rank higher in the series than Leon is Korekyo in V3. But also that dude was so unforgivingly stupid. And maybe Mikan, only maybe because the plan alone wasn't that bad despite of the fact she was the only one who could have done it. And it was painfully clear from the beginning, just like Leon. Leon, come on, your name is on the wall, how do you not notice this? To be honest, I didn't really see the numbers the first time I played this because it just looked extremely like letters. It just didn't occur to me that someone would write numbers like a digital clock while dying. And can we talk about the fact that Kyoko was the only one to enter the room, so Leon was written on the wall immediately and just figured out the whole case in seconds? And in contrast to that, Makoto and Mondo thought it was a good idea to ask a programmer for a hidden meaning behind 5 numbers on a wall, with the only explanation that Chihiro has something to do with numbers. I mean, of course, Leon wasn't really able to plan beforehand, but he didn't know it was Makoto's room. How did he think he would get away with it? And the other students would have actually cared and looked for the toolbox who was opened. I think I just put him in C tier. I don't really hate him, but I don't like him. And I really don't care about him.
藤崎千尋です
Spoiler alert, big spoiler, I will call Chihiro by the preferred pronouns. He is a boy and wants to be a boy. The act as a girl is not his preferred lifestyle, nor how he truly feels inside, and his goal is just to become more manly, so I will call him just him. Well, on the one hand, I personally like Chihiro, his arc and his self-acceptance shortly before him dying, which is the single most hateable thing about Mondo. I have to acknowledge that Chihiro is, despite being a computer genius, completely stupid. I think most of the time in his first and his only trial he was even more stupid than Hagakure, and he was specifically designed to be stupid. But I really like Chihiro, very likable, saves everyone with alter ego. I mean, definitely Makoto, and Makoto saves everyone who's left. There is not really much a character despite the overall cuteness, alter ego and a big surprise for Sakura. Yeah, regarding everything, I put him in A tier. Mondo Owada gives me some Leon Kuwado vibes, but Mondo is actually interesting. He carries a lot of pride inside himself and is always true to his words. Doesn't change the fact that he is an asshole most of the time, but he becomes very likable in combination with Taka. I think Mondo for me is kinda like the bad ending for Fuyuhiko. And I like Mondo for the fact that he wanted to protect Chihiro's secret even after his death, although it was very dangerous of him to do, because not only he had to get past the miniguns, he risked being seen with the body. In fact, he really was seen with the body by Byakuya and ruins his ebook proving him to be the killer. But after being convicted, he had so much shame for what he'd done, and he's truly sorry for his impulse mistake, something that no one of the killers shared in this game. Only Gonta had some remorse in V3, but he truly thought he was in the right to do so, and Kaede a little bit, but she was more bummed out she didn't got the mastermind and less sorry for what she'd done. Mondo was just truly sorry for his action and regretted everything. He is an asshole most of the time, it hits you in the face, and his hot-headed behavior makes a lot of trouble, but he's still kinda likable, and I like his mentality that you never hit a woman. I'll put him in B tier. He has a stick up his ass so deep that it hurts his brain a little bit. He can't really make friends or has a sense of privacy, and sometimes doesn't really think straight. In the beginning of the game, he's also pretty much an asshole, but he grows a little bit and becomes less weird with Mondo. At first, I liked the idea of the very overmotivated Super Saiyajin Ishimaru, but he got immediately killed off, so what do I care? He's polite, or more like wants to be polite but fails, but he has good ideas to keep the people together and acts kinda like the Togami of the second game. He's always the first to come up with some plans and keeps order in a group. He's really not that bad at all. I personally like him and his motivation in being the ultimate moral compass because of his grandfather, so I'll put him in A tier.
Yamada Hifumi.
Hifumi Yamada. I think it was the goal to make him very unlikable, although I kinda respect the decision to make him an anti-simp by the fact that he is only interested in 2D women. He is still a personal butler to Celeste, so I have to say at first I didn't really like him, and that never changes throughout the whole game. He's pretty creepy with his behavior, and I have a hard time taking his talent seriously because it's kinda the same Toko has, and Toko actually creates a world with characters and Hifumi takes them and makes fan service. But I give credit to him because I think he actually draws manga. And the most important part, literally everything about his appearance is weird. Skinny legs with this unachievable big physique, the hair doesn't make any sense at all and is by far the most rebellious character in the whole franchise. His face is weird, he has a tie with an arrow pointing at him. I should stop that, but even if the creators wouldn't have empathized his weird personality with weird looks, he would still be pretty weird. But I have to step in for him and tell people that a stolen computer program with a charming face of a deceased male co-student he is simping for because it resembles a girl enough wasn't his sole motivation to kill Ishimaru. Well, when I phrase it like that, I don't think I really did him a favor here. He wanted to help the poor helpless Celeste who, at least he thought, was assaulted by Taka, and yeah, that part I had to look up in Danganronpa wiki because I forgot about that part. Because I couldn't remember that she told him she was sexually assaulted by Taka and Taka was going to kill Hifumi. That's horrible and explains Hifumi's actions in my opinion. I mean, even after the Mondo transformation, Taka was still the ultimate moral compass, so I don't know how Hifumi believed that, but I just don't like him. D tier.
Celestia
Ludenborg. She seemed very calm-minded and realistic at first. It was later revealed that she was just trying to be as unsuspicious as possible. Although you could argue Sayaka had done the same, Celestia completely admitted that she put on an act the whole time and wanted to leave. The part that Makoto convicted Celestia with Hifumi's last words was kinda bullshitty. I mean, it is really convenient that Yasuhiro is the name of 2 people in this game and Hifumi doesn't use any pronouns or elaborates any further. But I can understand he is dying and we all know how this feels like. I have to say Celeste May had the absolute best killing plan in Danganronpa 1 by far. And in all games, I can't really think of anything else despite every mindfuck Kokichi and Komaeda pulled off that would top her. She's very smart, but besides her very realistic and calm attitude, she also has a really annoying side. She doesn't really care about anyone, and I don't like her extremely self-centered motivation. What I really appreciated from a story writing perspective is that she really used her talent and fooled everyone from the beginning. Although I personally very much dislike her, she's a pretty good character, so I go for B.
Ogami Sakura da.
From the fandom often referred to as the queen or the goddess. Quick decisions, she's pretty much an S-tier character. I personally don't see a real arc, and unfortunately she doesn't have enough screen time. Characters like Kyoko or Maki are also very likable, but had more relevance to the story and more arc. That's pretty unfortunate because unlike Maki, Sakura is kinda perfectly written and doesn't overstay her welcome. Nothing against Maki, I still like her. The sacrifice Sakura made was also pretty heartbreaking because she really didn't have any other choice. No one would have trusted her and Monokuma had pretty solid leverage on her. I think just like with Gundam Tanaka, the sacrifice of Sakura made her one of the fan favorites. And after that, the group really actually worked together. Mukuru Ikuzaba, I think I have to say the name because she doesn't say her own name. Mukuru Ikuzaba. Mukuru is very loved by the community and basically the third ship for Makoto from the fandom, and I very much see why. Okay, spoiler warning again. If you ignored my first warning, stop watching this if you don't know the story. It will ruin the whole experience for you, okay? Okay. Mukuru is Junko when Junko is very likable. That means in the first chapter. Mukuru pretending to be Junko is a very fun and enjoyable character, but her whole story is so depressing and sad. I mean the backstory, not her fake story. I really like her talent, but like Sakura, I would have appreciated a little bit more screen time because we really didn't see anything from the ultimate soldier. I mean, of course, it's not how the story works, but it would have been very cool to see the ultimate soldier in action. Unlike Sakura, the screen time is really too short to put her higher than A, but I think I wouldn't have put her in S anyway.
Kirigiri Kyoko.
I like her, she's not stupid as hell and still in a Danganronpa game. She's very likable and has some humor. She likes to mess with unsympathetic people and looks out for the weaker ones. Altogether, the perfect friend for a pushover like Makoto. I mean, despite the fact she just sacrifices him like collateral damage. Well, he was fun while he lasted. She did the Sayaka thing to him all over again because she knew he would go along with it. That's pretty cold, but it's kind of fair, in my opinion. She is the sole reason why everyone survived to that point in the first place. I also think her backstory with the principal and the whole family line of detectives is pretty interesting. I'll just put her in S tier. She's probably my favorite character in the first game. By the way, I would really appreciate if you give a like to this video. Also, please leave a comment. I love to read comments and tell me how wrong I am. I appreciate any interaction, but specifically I love to read comments.
Ogami Byakuya da.
Yeah, he's an asshole most of the time. States from the beginning that he would definitely kill someone and win the killing game, like Kokichi, but he actually means it. He was pretty messed up in the second case when he wanted to frick up Mondo in his head by sabotaging the crime scene, and I really don't know why he thought that was a good idea. But I think it was just funny for him to blame it on Genocide Jill and exposing her secret, which was of course pretty important and good of him to do so, but I think he could have done it in a better way and not freaking around with the crime scene. Like Celeste, he actually cares about no one, although he has a pretty decent arc. I have to say I like the Fuyuhiko arc more by far, but I can appreciate a Togami bro transformation. He is in fact pretty smart, even if he ignores feelings a bit too much. I'll just put him in A because of big legs, good looks, and the tell them Naegi meme.
Fukawa, Toko yo.
Yeah, I really don't care about Toko. Toko is pretty much unlikable all of the time, insufferable, creepy, and she's portrayed as a person who never really washes themselves. Her other personality is a serial killer, and I really do not like that trope. It was a little bit better implemented with Korekyo, but I also hate Korekyo, so I don't care. It makes people with multiple personality disorder look more dangerous than they are. Of course, Danganronpa is not the only story to blame for that, but when every story with a person with multiple personality disorder is depicted as a killer or dangerous, then it creates a huge problem for people dealing with that. Toko is one of my least favorite characters, personally and story-wise. I think Genocide Jack, Jill, or Genocide Joe would have been a very fun character if she would have been a character by herself, only pretending to be Toko we knew from the first 2 chapters. No multiple personality disorder, just like Maki pretending to be the ultimate caregiver, so that Genocide Jill only pretends to be the ultimate writing prodigy. I think it would have still worked with the backstory and the switches in personality, like Junko or Kokichi often change how they act. But I have to put her in the lowest tier because I really don't like her. I really don't care for him that much, he's kind of funny and goofy. I truly can't hate him and he acts like a bro most of the time. But many times he is a little bit too stupid. In the first chapter it was pretty funny how long he thought this was a joke, because, until the first victim it could have been all a joke. He also achieved to be the prime suspect of 2 murder cases, and he is a very easy target to be set up as a murderer. And I really enjoy his stories, like the infamous burger story. He is truly one of a kind. And sometimes he can tell the future actually pretty well when he says no one in the group is dying anymore, or when he sees the bad ending in before. I'll put him in B. I don't really care about him, but the game would be a bit more stale without him. A bit like a second Makoto, very hopeful and innocent until she is not, or really not. She is sometimes used as a fanservice character, but fortunately not all the time, like Iruma or Mikan. I don't really like these 2 characters. Aoi is still a real character to me and they didn't overdo it with her, what I really appreciate. Otherwise, a very sympathetic character, not extremely smart but also not stupid. Altogether, I can't really find something very unlikable about her. She wanted to kill everyone including herself because she thought Sakura committed suicide due to the others treating her like a monster, but I can kinda forgive that. Sakura was her only friend and we saw Sakura protecting Aoi a lot, so I'll just put her in A. I forgot how much I liked her in the early game. She was presented as the ultimate sidekick, like your personal Maya Fey. I completely fell for it. I thought that would be the romance story of the game. In all of her free time events, yes, I did them again on the second playthrough, she acts like we're so important to her, and then she's just dead. Then we learned that she fricked us over completely. She tricked us from the beginning, or she did not. Then the question, when did she start lying or messing with us? But there's no way we could ever find out because she's already dead. I consider her really well executed. Of course, she kinda is an asshole and that's a fact, but I truly believe that she only started lying after she watched the motivation video and cared for Makoto at least a little bit, but she cared more for her career and her friends outside. In my opinion, still better than Celeste, but I also put her in B tier. She is pretty much the definition of interesting, kinda like the opposite of Leon. Again, the same big spoiler from before. We don't talk about Junko, no. From the first chapter, now we talk about the real Junko. She's pretty much invincible and besides Izuru Kamakura, the most intelligent being existing in that universe. Well, let's be honest, Hagakure isn't really the ultimate clairvoyant. Junko is so good at telling the future that she can plan everything exactly ahead, so perfectly that her plan fails exactly the way she wants it to. She's truly talented but gets bored extremely fast because of her ability to know exactly everything that will happen. So she creates characters and changes her demeanor very frequently, like a Kokichi, to avoid being boring to herself. Is she really likable? She is the most manipulative and truest asshole in the entire cast, and we have Celestes and Togamis, so that's pretty much a statement, but I still think she's kinda cool. At least A tier is a no-brainer, but I don't like her that much to put her up with Kyoko and Sakura, so she stays where she is. I considered Toko and Genocide Jill as the same person, but if I would consider them different characters, I would put Genocide Jill in A tier and Toko stays in D tier. If I would consider Mukuro and Fake Junko different characters, then Fake Junko would be in B tier and Mukuro would be in tier. Who the fuck is this? I've never seen her in my entire life. Yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I don't know if I will drop a video like that for the second game. It was more work than I thought to put up a decent script and record the audio the second time because I wasn't really feeling the first one. I probably would just do a second video on demand if enough people actually care about that. I already planned another video about Danganronpa, but I think that will take way more time than this one. Leave a like, but more importantly, a comment. I like to read them. Bye.